Thanks for tuning in to the Boeckle Brothers channel, where we talk all things real estate. I'm Landon.
And I'm Jesse, and on today's very special episode, we are sitting down with one of the most experienced general contractors, investors, business owners that I have the privilege of knowing, the real Nick Marietta.
How's it going, guys?
Going very well.
Thanks for coming on.
You guys ready to kill this?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, man.
So
Lots
just
of
so
history.
everybody knows, Nick Marietta has flipped over 6,000 properties, wholesaled thousands of properties, done an incredible amount of real estate investing and real estate contracting here in Las Vegas and Arizona.
Absolutely. And also general contractor
General contracting.
is one of our main businesses.
Right.
So anyway,
Yeah, so we have a lot of history together, Nick. Let's take it back to 2008.
okay, so 2008, broke $300 to my name. I've said it 2 or 3 times on other things. And $25 an hour. I put it out on Craigslist for truck and 2 guys, and your dad calls me. And needs a toilet set, can't get anybody to finish it up, running around in their Escalades. Like, everybody was scrambling, getting parts, worried about 50 cents, right? And today it'd be like, I'm not even going to look at the houses, right? We were on one yesterday.
Man, it's crazy.
So a lot of change in 13 years in the business. So your dad hired me. Both your dads hired me. I'd originally met Phil, which is your dad. Tom's your dad. And I did one job for him. He used to call them the maintenance packages. It was $1,000 a house flat. Whatever had to be done, I won and lost. Did about 100 of them, made some money. They loaned me $3,000 for my first work truck. I was literally driving a Blazer.
How old were you at this point?
I was 24.
24.
Yep.
Okay.
So I asked your dad for a loan for $3,000, and he had to think about it. But he knew I was good for it.
It's cheap guys, man.
Well, I mean, in the times, that was a lot of money.
It was tough times.
You couldn't get a loan anywhere if you were broke, right? So anyway, got working for a little while. You guys started working with me while you're going to college. Had a lot of good times then. And then I didn't see you for like 2 or 3 years, and I was dealing like with your dads, and they were running the flipping business. And then you become a broker, right?
Yep. So
16.
2013, I came back from college.
Commercial real estate,
became a real estate agent. Went to commercial for 2 years, and then in 2016, I became a broker. That's when Jesse and I partnered up and
Yep, man, I made
rekindled that friendship we had.
I made money on that first rehab with you.
Of course.
It was good.
I still remember it, Mariner Village.
Yep. Did you guys make money?
No, we lost money.
Did you? But I made money.
No, we lost money.
I made money, though.
I know you made money.
You did great on that one. You did great on a bunch of ours.
So, and then I remember I was just trying to figure out how to wholesale, and I was giving you guys properties like, how you doing that, And then you guys figured it out, and you guys started doing it, and you guys bought a lot of properties on the MLS. And I wholesaled you guys, I think, like the first 50 properties.
Yeah.
And then you actually wholesaled me like 10 or 15, and I think last week you guys wholesaled me a $1.53 million deal that you found on MLS.
Crazy.
So it goes both ways. So one tip in this business is it goes both ways. You receive and give business, and don't be afraid of money because it comes and goes. You got to realize that sources can feed you in so many different ways.
Right. I also think it's important to note for those out there watching how important relationships are and how they come around full circle. We've, like you said, it's been a total give and take. I mean, I'd say we credit a majority of our initial success to you and what you did for us. So
and me too. I mean, you guys kept me alive when other people didn't have work. It's very important. And you guys, we've had our differences in business, and you have to understand that the differences really weren't between us. It was between tight markets. Today's market's completely different, and there's a lot more money to be made, and it's going up so quickly. We were flipping in really hard times when Las Vegas was actually flat. And, a lot of the flippers had left when, like, all the hedge funds started buying in, like, 2013. So, guys, don't always think that it's the people. Sometimes it's just the deal, and it doesn't work for their mechanism. That's a huge thing being a new flipper, that don't be afraid to move around and trade your vendors and realtors and different things until you get something for your team that works. Don't take offense to it. That's a big tip because, guys, we're sitting here after 14 years now, and we're back at it heavy again.
I think we have,
Strong
10 projects going, a couple $1 million plus?
Yeah, I mean, we have 7 sitting right now that we're starting this week. We're doing 3 and then another 4 behind them, and I'm looking at 2 or 3 a week for you guys. And they need me right now, and they're a good customer for me. I need them too because they can just feed my machine, and I don't have to go out and look for work. It just falls in my lap. and they're winning and I'm winning. So long as you can create that win-win is a huge thing for you.
I think that's what made us so successful when we first started, was that we needed somewhat of a new mentor and some guidance in the business. And I just want to reiterate your point that I can't express the thank you enough.
Well, thank you.
To be able to team up with you at that point in our careers, because you forced us to think on a high level, act on a high level, and those are habits that have stuck with us,
right.
and we've continued on into business now. So I don't think we'd be anywhere we are today if it wasn't for working with you.
Right. Who would have thought that 5 years later we're sitting here doing a podcast in our office talking about how many deals we've done and what's to be had in the future and what we're doing right now. It's really cool to have. So.
Especially after the house I wholesaled you downtown, and I was sitting at my pool. It was Friday night, and you had to call the cops. Take 30 seconds to tell what happened.
Oh, man.
I never thought I was going to do their job for you.
Is this the one where they broke in?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was your first flip or something you were freaking out.
Yeah, so our first couple of deals, we started out in the worst areas of town. So in 2000, what was that, 16, 17, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, everything we were flipping was in a bad area. We were dealing with, Jesse and I were up, 3-4 nights a week at 10, 11 o'clock at night.
We had alarms in every home.
1 o'clock in the morning running across town. Like, we got to go. We got to get up. Let's go. This one deal Nick wholesaled us. I remember like it's yesterday. Me and Jesse pull up. There's probably 6 to 8 people living in this house.
Try 16 to 18.
It's pouring rain out that day, and Nick's out of town in Arizona, probably laying out. And I call
Sunrise.
Nick.
That was the house.
Yep.
I call Nick, full panic. Nick, they're in the house. They're living in the house. What do we do? He goes, don't worry, I'll deal with it tomorrow. I'm like, deal with it tomorrow? We got 18 people in this house ruining the house. I'll deal with it tomorrow. Man.
Yep. What are they going to do for the night? Burn it down?
That house was nothing but problems, but you know what? Eventually, we actually did come up with something creative. We sold it, and we made good money on it.
We made money on that deal.
The whole package we did.
But the biggest thing is, especially for the guys that are just starting out, you might have to start in that lower income.
Yeah.
The story, what we're getting at is I sold them a deal with 16 people in it. I didn't want the deal. They took the deal. Fair trade. And they're calling and freaking out. Guys, don't freak out over anything. You got insurance. Everything will work itself out. The only thing you can't fix is death. Anything else is fixable.
Right.
So, there's an example of experience how listening to this, if you carry yourself that way, you can actually do better and get further by just calming down and doing things. But obviously, I'd probably freak out too if I didn't know any better, right?
Yeah, and look, we were just starting out, right?
Yep.
Jesse and I were young guys in business, and every single deal meant so much to us. So, 6 months, a year later, we got those phone calls, or we had squatter situations where we're like, we'll deal with it tomorrow. Because you just learn, and you're right. It's just part of the process. But, every deal we held so close to our hearts, and in our minds, it was so important to us to make sure everything went just right. But, that's just a part of the business and a part of learning. So,
Yep, for sure.
For those people just getting started out there, Nick is one of the best contractors we've ever met, if not the best general contractor we've ever met. I mean, the guy is as sharp as a tack. He's a genius when it comes to real estate and when it comes to contracting. So we have him here today to really add a lot of value and answer some basic questions of how to get started, how to find guys like Nick if you're buying property. So let's jump into some good starter questions for those new investors.
Yeah, I think. Do you guys want to go, or do you want me to start out with some of the general contractors?
Go ahead.
So, guys, just so you know, I own four home investors, and I buy, sell, and renovate over 400 homes in 4 markets, and I work under 4 hours a month doing that. I have a 21-year-old kid.
Hey, that's crazy. One more time with that.
4 hours a month. I take 1 hour a week. And I called Jared. He's 21 years old. He's getting ownership in the company this year. Started with me when he was 18, and he runs all the franchises. Last year, in one of our markets alone, we did 263 deals our first year there.
Wow.
So we're cranking this year. We'll depending on the bigger stuff in Vegas, obviously, change a little bit, but we'll probably do about 450 real estate transactions. I don't even really deal with that side of the business. I get a phone call. I look at it. I might look at it for 2 seconds. Fine, done. In Vegas only. I don't look at any of our deals in any of the other markets. Mm-hmm. And we're flipping mainly only luxury here now. So, guys, you can set up systems and do other things. And if a 21-year-old kid can do that with a mentor, imagine what he'll be doing in 20 years, right? And you got to look at that yourself. And he started when he was 18. Mm-hmm. So I do that. I also do general contracting. We're doing about 8 to 10 million a year now. We were only doing 5 to 6. So when you start flipping, there's 3 components. You got to have money,
Sure.
got to have a deal, and you got to have a contractor, right?
Right.
There's the little things. You need an escrow company. You got to have a transaction coordinator. You got to have a realtor.
Yeah, and you can do it with your own transactions and stuff. Titles, they're all over town.
Those are the big 3.
But the big three are super important.
That, right? I'll let these guys kind of talk about how they're using for money and how they got started, and I can kind of say how I did that. But the biggest thing is how to find a contractor. That's one of the reasons why I'm here, because these guys already talk about real estate. Not many contractors come on the show. And the biggest thing about a contractor is guys, there's 3 levels literally of a contractor. And tell me if I'm right or wrong. You got the guy that's absolutely super cheap of everybody. You always got the guy in the middle, right? And you got the guy like me that's the most expensive. Period. That's
100%.
what it is. Okay, but think about this. Do you want to be dealing with a guy that's sitting in this seat, or do you want to be dealing with a guy that's sitting in the other seat? So I pull up with all this knowledge that goes into your deal. You're paying for that, which will help you. Or you can get the guy in the middle that's never flipped any homes. He's only a contractor. His work's fair. You can't get a hold of him. He doesn't have infrastructure put in place. Or you got the other guy that's even worse than that, probably not licensed, shoddy work, liability for you, and everything else. So think about this. If you were to make $20,000 on a deal, right, and you use me and you make 15, okay, if I can't find $5,000 worth of value out of my rehab versus somebody else with design, bedroom conversions,
Timing,
quality, everything else, then you need to stop and you need to find more information. You need to learn more about what you're doing, because place yourself at the top from the beginning. Buy a deal that's deep enough that you can place yourself at the top from the beginning. Don't place yourself at the bottom. If you're dealing at the bottom, that's what you're going to be. Go to the high level thinkers. And that's one of my biggest mistakes is I stayed at the bottom. I didn't flip homes until 2016. And that was, I did thousands of rehabs for other investors.
Right.
but you didn't do it yourself.
Yeah, I stayed at the bottom. I decided to stay at the bottom instead of climb. And ever since I've climbed, it changes. So that's a big thing when you're hiring a contractor.
Now, and I think that just to stop you right there real quick, going into the first point of who to hire and how to hire them, right? You don't want to always look for the cheapest contractor out there, because as we know, typically price and quality and timing don't correlate with one another. The cheapest guy is going to take a little bit longer and their quality is probably going to be a little bit lower. The middle range guy is going to be right in the middle, but they tend to work for a lot more people. And then the high price guy, like Nick, whose quality's there, timing's there, you're going to pay a little bit more for him, but it's less babysitting, right? As an investor, time is money for us as well. So hiring someone like Nick, who we could hand the keys over to one day, and 3 weeks later he hands the keys back with a quality job, great finishing work, and the timing counts, that gives you the ability to scale your business, buy more properties, and worry less about the small stuff.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, when you're thinking about the price, like any crappy contractor could charge a whole lot. So the price is a good way to differentiate people, but it goes deeper than that. I think it goes into the competence of the person and how they run their business.
Yep.
And that's really what sets you apart.
Right. Here's the big thing is, I wasn't big on social media. In fact, I shut it down in 2019 for almost a year. And now I'm pushing my social media hard. I mean, I've got 3 full-time people. We're dropping, videos.
You have a YouTube channel that's come out.
Yeah. We have so much content, we just can't even... getting it produced and getting it out, and good content. We have 6-month backlog of content. But the whole thing is when you go to my page, go to some of the projects and look at the comments. Then what you need to do is you need to go into the comments. You need to go to that person that's commenting or liking your stuff. Okay.
And we'll tag the pages below in the description. We'll tag your YouTube channel and your Instagram.
And this is how you should vet a contractor. If a contractor's afraid to put his work out, he doesn't have quality work.
Absolutely.
Because he's going to get bad comments and bad reviews, right? So you need to make sure that they have a personal Facebook page or business. And
they're visible.
YouTube, probably not as much a contractor, maybe, but more than likely not. And Instagram. I really use Instagram hard. And, when I go on there and I look and see who's doing what, that tells everything. Everybody goes, do you have a website? And I go, yeah, I don't even know the website address. I don't use website, but go to my Instagram. And my Bible is Instagram now. So when you go there and see that works. So, and another thing is the new flippers. So go look at Movement Always. You guys know them, right?
Yep.
Milton Milton and Maki, they hired me on a job here in town. They were scared to death.
They're brand new, right?
Yeah, they
in town.
Well, they'd done 2 or 3.
Okay.
And they'll see this, which they'll appreciate. They couldn't find the hard money. I helped them locate hard money. I was willing to use my line, flip with them. They put up the down payment, pay me for construction, and I would go in on them with the deal. Well, anyway, I helped them for like the first week, and they'd got a couple bids, and I was like 20 grand higher than everybody else. Okay, but the other people weren't including everything. I went there, I said, hey, we need to make an X downstairs, we need to do this upstairs, da-da-da-da-da. They ended up finding hard money because I gave them enough sources, and I think I don't know the whole story about that. You could ask them where they ended up with the hard money, but they ended up making $90,000 on that deal. And then the people that bought it called me and told me how much they loved the house, just loved it. They would have never made the money if I wouldn't have did that deal with them. They would have walked away from it.
Right, and I think that's what you do a lot with us. I mean, even walking some of the properties we watched yesterday, we watched $3 million plus flips yesterday with you.
Yeah.
And just the mindset, we've worked with bad contractors. We actually worked with a contractor that we lost $60,000 on, making the mistake of not, of trying to go the cheaper route, trying to go the route, of least resistance with pricing and trying to take more control of that side. And it really came back to bite us. So check out our video on how we made that $60,000 mistake. We'll tag in the description below. But when you walk a property, you bring a ton of value, ideas that we've never even thought about. And we've flipped 200-300 homes as well. Yep. You flipped thousands of homes.
Yeah, I mean,
so your experience
I
really
get
brings a lot.
I get 10 different flippers experience all in one head.
Right.
So back to finding a contractor, we need to really zero in on that, and then we need to move on, I think. So really the places you need to look is you need to go check out hashtags on Instagram.
Okay.
Is a great place, right?
Okay.
Hashtags is where you can go find it in your local city. Find the flippers that you want to be. Find your idol. Find your inspiration in your town or whatever's going on there. Go follow them. Look up where their properties are and go and see who their contractor is.
That's a great idea.
That's where you go find it. I literally
that.
have probably one person a week that's starting out, okay, call me and they found me from hashtags or they either found me from Pineda's page, they found me from you guys' page, Hub's page, or they just found me on hashtags,
right.
More than likely how they find me. And I get that call. In fact, I just had one here. A guy didn't even know how to he's got an aunt with $5 million and didn't know how to even structure the deal. And I told him how to go structure the deal, and he's going to have dinner with her tonight. Like, you can always reach out, right? So start there. Second thing is go to supply houses. Go to the big supply houses, flooring, cabinet, countertop places. A good place to start's Home Depot. And don't go to a crappy Home Depot because you want the contractors that are working on the nicer properties, right? So go to the nicer part of town, be there in the morning, and just start asking. Those are really the best ways to find contractors.
So once you find a contractor, those are really good ways. Going to a job site of one of your idols or someone that you're following in town, that's a genius way to find a good contractor because one, you're looking at the quality right then and there, and you get to talk to them and meet them in person first and foremost. So finding them online is great and all, but scheduling those meetings is sometimes tough. Yep. Going there, being on the job, seeing their work, and talking to them in person.
It's like today, I literally get 5 requests for remodels a day, and I really don't pick up many of them. I just refer them out to other people. I won't even people want to go to lunch with me. They want to come by my office. They want to get on the phone with me. I won't even set any of those unless you're actually trying to do something for yourself. The people that aren't really trying to do anything for themselves, and they're like trying to be better, right? Mm-hmm. They're trying to use you. The guys that are trying to be better, I'll talk to. Sure. So you have to make sure that you compliment the person you're going after if you want that. You also need to have confidence. If you don't have confidence, they're not going to want to work with you. Right. Because the incompetent people, they add so much time to my deals, I don't have time to deal with it.
You got to sell yourself, and you got to want to work with that person.
And you got to be decisive. You got to know what you want and what you want to do. So now that we found you, you're our new contractor. We have a deal that we want you to estimate and bid out. How has things changed with estimating jobs, and what's your process, or what should the viewer's process be just estimating the first job with you?
Well, I've been doing this 21 years. I don't really listen to many people anymore in my space. My space is my space, okay? When you've done 6,000 of these rehabs and you've been around this a long time, the first thing I ask is, what's your budget? Don't be afraid to say your budget because, guys, if I treat everybody the same, it's all the same pricing. Because if I charge you $1.35 for paint and I charge my other customer $1.50, it ain't gonna take long before things mesh, and I ain't gonna have any business. So I charge the same price, and everything's line itemed, right? Make sure your contractor line items every single thing, not a lump sum bid.
Right.
So what it comes down to is be able to say your budget and be able to say, I don't have a design, or I need help with the design. Okay. It's better to let the contractor, if they have the experience, you got to find the guy with the experience, come into your place and say, what do you think? This is what I think. Let them do their work, because if you don't let the contractor do their work, if you got a guy that's successful, like I have 75 guys and 18 trucks on the road, right? I mean, I'm in 20 some houses at a time. Tell me what you want and leave me alone, right? And that's the thing is I won't let people dictate or use my time, okay? I tell them exactly the way it is. I have the track record. And you know what? If they don't listen, I don't do business with them. So that's a big thing, is to listen if they're credible.
Absolutely. And for those people out there that are hesitant of giving out a budget, because we were at that way at one point too, where, you know, if you ask us how much you want to spend on this house and we give you a number, our anticipation is you're going to try to spend that entire number every time or more, and think, well, I know their number, but they could go a little bit over it, or it's really not that way any longer. You know, giving the number out, you're going to try to figure out how to get everything done within that number. And that's your job, is here's what we want this house to look like. Here's our budget for this house. Nick's job, without us telling him how to do it, is to go in and figure out how to get the best quality of work done with what we want it to look like, done within that budget.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's
guys,
his challenge.
And this is a true story. Mountain Heather, you guys are flipping right now, and I bid it at like 46 or 48, and I messed up when I went out and looked at it, and I didn't account for 4 major items, and I gave you an $8,000 discount to hit your budget. Because now how we do bids is I go, walk it, we got a budget, can you do it? It's yes or no. If not, what will it be? And I stick to that. Right. So I lost on that one. You know, it's like basically a break even for me, right? So guys, giving the budget is
He's
the
not going
key.
to let that one slip.
No, but I mean, it's the truth. I mean, it is what it is. But
Right.
You love saying that.
I do.
You said some good points in there when you're working with a new contractor. Let them do their thing. If you get them into a house and you're trying to design it with them and they can't come up with value adds or knowledgeable things like that, that's also a good sign that you're not working with the right person. So to your point, let them do their thing. They're going to shine or they're not. Absolutely.
And the other thing is too is if they're successful, okay, and they have it on their page, just let them do their thing. But one thing, guys, is if it works for somebody else, it's going to work for you. Don't try to reinvent the wheel.
All right.
Slip in and go. You know,
what's your average time frame right now? Because we get people asking us all the time, how long did it take to finish this one? And we're telling people, you know, typically 40, 45 days right now is our average flip time frame.
For an average house.
And they find that to be extremely fast. So with you and your company, what's your average?
We're running like putter. So we have Putter, Spalding.
These are our properties.
Yeah, Heather. I'm just naming street addresses, right? They're all under 4 weeks. And the only thing that wouldn't be 4 weeks is, hey, I want to add this or add that. But the general construction's 4 weeks done. So if it's under 60,000, it's 4 weeks.
These are tract style homes, 1 and 2 story, between 1,500 and 2,500 square feet, just as a general basis.
And I think going back to our initial point, the importance of that question was that quickness and time. The market's shifting at an incredible rate right now. And right now it's moving up. The appreciation's going up very fast, which is great for us. But it could also go the other way just as fast as you know.
Save this episode so when this thing goes down,
we
can replay this.
But that's the importance of, you know, if you're nickel and diming the contractor in the construction job to try to save a couple bucks, but it takes 60 days or 75 days to renovate a property. 75 days is 2.5 months. A lot could change in a market in 2.5 months. And I know you saw that firsthand back in the downturn. So I think that's important.
Well, it even happened in COVID. Everybody got scared. I mean, I sold 60 properties in COVID and decided because I was at the point in my life, I would rather lose. I lost $1 million and sold off 60 properties I have and canceled 60. Well, nobody was buying anything. So I canceled 120 deals. That's how quick it can turn. And that literally happened. I was like, we went to San Francisco on March 1st, and by March 15th, it was like the world ended.
Everything was dead.
And that was 15 days. And by March 30th, the real estate market was like stalled. Well, it was stalled because people were scared. It was still moving.
So I think that point being is, timing in real estate investing or investing in general is everything.
Yep.
It's worth more than the couple bucks that you save, beating someone else down.
Here's an example. How long is your bigger rehabs taking, like the bullies and those? I'm not going to, are they taking 12 weeks?
They're about 90 days.
90 days, yeah. We're going to try to do those and right at 60 days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
That's
incredible.
Awesome. That's also, if you're borrowing money, you're using hard money, that's extra interest you're saving too.
Yep. It doesn't matter if you're borrowing or using cash. And here's why, right? This is another tip. Even if you have cash, time is the essence, because that cash can only be used at one time.
Right.
So if you're doing a deal at one time and it's taking
there.
longer, you're stopping the next deal.
Right.
So even interest is worse, but even cash is better. Everybody goes, well, I got cash, I got all the time in the world. You're wrong, because you could be doing another deal.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right.
Speaking of cash and speaking of money, another great tip I wanted to cover while he's here as well, just for managing, anyone new out there managing a new contractor relationship, is the actual payments. So that's something that I know one of our friendly competitors in town has gotten way over his head with, gotten way ahead of the contractor, and that kind of turned out to bite him in the butt. So one good little piece is how you manage your payments and how you stay up with that, and not necessarily, I hate to say staying ahead of the contractor every time, because that puts you behind, but it's more so staying pretty level with the work.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yeah, it's called an equal relationship, right? So with you guys and every customer, it's under 100 grand. It's a third down, a third at drywall, and a third. I automate the bills. When I have a completion date, I might be 5 days from completion. I send the bill, or I might be 5 days after the completion.
Just around
automate
completion.
a schedule,
Yeah.
and they send out, and the checks just show up. Like I don't have
So
to call
3
for checks.
payments: one up front, one in the middle, one at the
One
end.
at drywall. When you're through drywall, like cabinets are flooring, and then cabinets are next. You're halfway.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure over halfway.
Yeah.
I got you at the beginning, you got me in the middle, and you got me at the end.
Right.
And
right.
the significance of that is if
It's
something
you,
happened to Nick,
me, you.
right?
That's how-
If something happened to Nick one day, whether he walked off the job or if something, God forbid, happened to him, we need to be able to finish that job for the amount of money that we haven't paid yet. We need to be able to finish the job for that amount of money. So if you've paid too much and something happens, now you're going to be at a loss because you got to make up for it on the other side.
One other thing that you need to look in a general contractor is not only their Instagram page, not only people they're working for, you need to go see their facility. See, here's a big tip. Just because they're working for certain people doesn't mean they have it all together. Look at how they dress. Look at how clean their car is.
Their office.
Their office.
Their trucks.
Their company trucks. Yep, all of that is huge. Look at their system and materials. And, there's one of me in every city. It's a matter of finding them.
Yeah.
And it's easy. You just got to go to the top boys. And, when you present yourself, act that way and make sure your stuff's that way too.
Sure.
When I pull up in a person's car, there's crap all over the dash. Stuff's falling out. Like, I don't even want to do business with them.
No.
It's funny you say that because we were at a job a couple of weeks ago where we had a different contractor on that job. It was just a small house. Nick does more of our luxury higher end stuff. And we looked into the work truck and
Couldn't believe what we found.
we were blown away by how chaotic the work truck was. And you know what's funny is it directly relates to the quality of work. And that's why that contractor does the lowest end product for us, because the quality is less important on the lower end product. But it was crazy how that correlated from, we noticed it. We said, wow, look at their truck.
Yep.
And thought,
Look at the
that
house.
makes sense now. So
Yeah.
it's funny you brought that
It
up.
goes farther. That contractor's quality, finishing, timing, everything is
Yep.
subpar.
Right.
So that's
and they're
huge.
cheaper, but we get bit on the back.
Yeah.
Don't listen to if somebody says, yeah, I can do it. Yeah, I can do it. Have them go show you something. You just got to find the proof. Just do your due diligence on the proof. That's it. It's that simple.
So how many guys do you have working for you?
I've proven payroll today was like 74.
Wow.
That's just on construction. I've got 8 in real estate, and I've got 4 in my other companies.
Yeah. I think it'd be good to kind of talk about now where we're going, because we definitely covered where we started, the types of jobs we used to do together, the types of work you used to do, but I think a lot of that's changing for the both of us.
Yep.
So you want to kind of tell us where you're headed? We'll kind of chime in.
So I want to start with number one mistake, I think, in all of our businesses, and we've talked about this a little bit. I'm a big follower of Grant Cardone, and his thing always says, right, you're thinking too small, right?
Sure.
So if you're thinking too small, the issue is it's just as hard to do a $1 million rehab, or excuse me, $1 million flip as it is to do a $200,000 flip. And like it's just as easy to raise $1 million as it is $200,000. At $200,000, you have to raise it 5 times.
Right.
At $1 million, you have to raise it 1 time.
Yeah.
So you're doing 5 times the work.
I love that.
Yep.
I really do.
It's the same thing. So, one thing that really inspired me was during COVID, there was one of my customers, Matt, and I'm not going to say anymore. Everybody will know who he is if they're watching this, bought a property, and we all thought he was crazy, right? And he put everything online, and he kind of changed.
We almost bought that property.
I know, but he almost changed the luxury market. Tell me not.
Yeah,
flippers.
no,
He did.
absolutely.
Give him a lot of credit. It was his first one. He bought it for $700 and sold it for $1.5. We put about $400 into it. And I was
Awesome
hesitant.
deal.
I was hesitant to even going into the luxury work. It'd been like 2008 since we'd done luxury work because we were doing all these crap boxes, right?
Right.
And I said, nah. Everybody's like, dude, you got to do it. Dude, you got to do it. And that was about a year ago now. That was the best move I ever made, was going to the luxury market. And now I'm going to specialize in 30 luxury flips and construction jobs a year. I'm going to actually get out of the lower end stuff, and that's all I'm going to do. It's funny that with the same guys, I can actually do the same amount of work.
So I think one thing that we've noticed in 2021 and our business has done is our average purchase in 2021 is $560,000 purchase. So, luxury to us is $1 million plus buys.
Yep.
But still higher level on the flip side. Typically when people think about flipping real estate, you're thinking, buy it for $150, sell it for $250. Buy it for $225, sell it for $300.
Entry
Level deals. Our margins have gone from $19,000 in 2019 to $65,000 average profit per deal in 2021 because we've raised our purchase price from that lower end, I think $360,000 average purchase, to $560,000, and that's made an incredible impact on our business. And like you said, it's actually easier to flip those homes than it is the lower price point
It's definitely
homes.
no harder. It's no harder to walk into that house, to come up with a design, and to get it done.
Well, the only thing about it, I think, is comping them. There's a little bit more risk in the comp, but you're dealing with a different buyer. The buyer has the money. And there's so many depleted places in luxury because luxury has been out of the loop since 2008. So almost everything's dated in any city, unless it's been built in the last 3 to 5 years, right? And luxury really just started back up about 2 years ago. So in that, the hardest part is getting the comps. That would be the hardest thing about it. And then trying to get a contractor to do it because, guys, remember, I did $60,000, $80,000 jobs for my higher end jobs, and I would do 100, 125 of those a year. And now we're looking at $200,000 and $300,000 jobs. So everything's got to change.
Right. Design's got to change. Quality of work's got to change. So you got to make sure your guys can uphold the quality that needs to go into a luxury flip. We know that some of our contractors that we use on the lower end stuff, we could never put them on a higher end flip. We know their quality's not there. We know their guys aren't up to that standard. So we got to work with guys that we have most confidence in, like you.
Sure, absolutely. So as moving into that, so I use hard money on everything, right? So I'm paying between 8 and 10%, and between 0 and 2 points, depending on the deal. I just bought that one from you guys on Princeville for $1.53 million. My break even on it's 216.
You're putting a lot into that.
I'm putting a lot into it.
But you're adding a lot of value to it too.
Yeah, we're adding a lot of value. And when I went and looked at it, I'm like, oh my God, 216. I'm like, I could do 10 of the other deals, but I started thinking about it. I think I can sell it for 3.1.
You're gonna sell that thing for at least 3. You're gonna make $700,000-800,000 on that deal.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do the rehab in 75 days. That's the goal.
That's a big rehab, man.
That's the goal. Well, I'm trying to get all of them that way. You got to get in them and you got to demo them. Yep. So let's talk about real quick about any job that we didn't hit. Is you got to get things cleaned out before you can come up with a plan on any property. If it's trash, if it's walls that got to come out, anything, don't get a bid until you get it cleaned out.
Sure.
Because the problem is you're going to get change ordered to death, and you're going to have lots of unknowns, and you're going to argue with people.
We used to do that all the time.
Yeah, I think it's a big change that we've made with you is...
You got to fix it anyway, so get the crap out of this.
Yeah.
Spend a little bit of money to demo it. If there's trash or cars or anything that's left there, get it out.
I do every job that way. I'm demoing every job now and then bidding it. Because I know exactly what I want unless you want to add something. I know where everything's at. There's no question. And then you guys can go to the contractor and go, well, that's your process. What's the problem? Why am I getting faced with this? You missed it.
Sure.
Even though I should pay for it, you missed it, and I have a budget to withhold.
Right.
And realistically, if they miss it, they should pay for it. They had their opportunity.
Right. Where we as investors are relying on you as the licensed general contractor with all the knowledge to inspect the properties and look at the properties in a more detailed manner in terms of mechanicals than we would. We're looking at it in terms of design. You're looking at it in terms of how do I get this thing to be functional, mechanically sound, and get the design done within this budget.
It seems like that's really streamlined your business too.
Oh, it's way streamlined. It's streamlined it helps everybody. And guys, like, the investors listen to me because it works. And I listen to them when it works. Like, I watch you guys getting back into luxury. We're going back to that.
Sure.
That's where we need to finish.
Let's jump back in.
Yeah, so I watch these guys go into luxury, and I watch them go, okay, they did okay on that one. Whoa.
Yeah.
Like,
hang on, how are they doing this?
Okay. So
now we own $4 million plus deals at any given time is kind of what we're keeping is we want 3 to 5 at a time in our possession right now because they're doing so well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at 5, and 2 months ago I had 0.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to buy 2 a month. In fact, I have some that I'm sitting on that the value is going up so much. I actually have 2 right now that I'm sitting on that I'm never even going to rehab, and I'm probably going to make $400 to $500 each just sitting on them because I can't even get to them in construction.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the deal that we did?
Yes.
That you're doing the rehab on.
Yep.
So we just wholesaled a deal, a luxury deal that we had locked up at 1.695. We got it at 1.65, and we wholesaled that deal for $2,012,000. We made $337,000.
I love it
on that deal. Nick's doing the remodel on it. How much is that remodel?
It's going to be almost $350 now.
$350,000 remodel, but they're going to also make probably $400,000 to $500,000 on that deal, if not more.
That deal is going to be worth 3.3, so they're going to be about $800,000.
They're going to do incredible on that deal.
So
because I have a really big win-win. I have the comp on the other street that's getting appraised right now.
Yeah.
For construction, we're doing a $1.4 million job, 2 streets over, and it just appraised for 3.3, and it's 5,000 square foot.
Nice.
Wow. The luxury game this year, and I know a lot of other guys, here in town. I won't name names, but that have really jumped into the luxury market as well. That they're traditionally super low end. They're more lipstick on the pig type of guys who are now going luxury because they've seen the success that we've had and other guys have had.
Not only that, but you guys. So Matt had the comp on the other house, and I'm not going to name streets. And you guys made what, 400 on that one on the flip?
400.
We did, yeah.
Yeah, and like literally, you got the comp before he sold his. You were like 1.2 on it, 1.3.
Way under, probably another 300,000 under where we ended
so
up.
Would have made like
that.
100.
Yeah,
we went from making 100,000. It was a good like 8 to 10% ROI deal to making 400,000 because of where the market's gone.
Yep.
So
But then you set the comp in there, and it's like there it is again. So back to the whole emphasis of what we're talking about with luxury is it's just as easy to do these as it is to do the other deals. Right. I'm actually finding so I sell and I superintend all my jobs, and the luxury deals I go to them once a week. That's all I have to go. I lay the framer out, he's there for a week. I lay electrician out, he's there for a week. Flooring guy, a week. Paint guy, 7 days, right? And I don't need to go. I know that they're working. But the whole thing about it is when I do these little $30,000, $40,000 jobs, I literally have to go there every day because every trade's done. And I got to see if it's ready for the next trade. So think about that. If you have a luxury flip and the framer's in there, you're not going to go do it every day. Right. Oh, well, I'm going to go see it in a week. So think about all the time that you create. My life's actually getting easier doing these luxuries.
You're not babysitting as much.
Yeah. And I never thought of that. So once again, I'm doing more work with less time.
I love it.
Yep.
That's always the goal, is the opportunity cost of time. And timing, once again, we're not talking about money. We're talking about time. Time is more important than the little dollars in most of these conversations. And I think that's what viewers should really keep in mind is the time it takes to do things. And the more time you could spend on generating business and generating new opportunities, it's worth a hell of a lot more than the nickel and dimes that you could get out of negotiations.
Yep. Let's talk a little bit. Do you mind if I shift a little bit?
Sure.
I think some of the viewers need to hear some stats.
Okay.
I think stats are always good, and I'm an open book.
Cool.
All right.
Okay. I've done $100 million in construction. I've made about $12 million net profit in my career with my construction company since 2009. Between my flips and my wholesales, I've made about $12 million. Mm-hmm. So they're almost head to head, right? After taxes, it's about 12, and then obviously you have living expenses and everything else. My net worth right now is about $7 million.
Wow.
Okay.
Good for you.
I went through a divorce 2 years ago, cut it in half. So I've had to rebuild back. and I'm earning now somewhere in the construction around $1 million a year, and flipping properties this year will make $3 or $4 million. So like literally it's a $5 million ticket. Unfortunately, I only get to keep 60% of that. So it doesn't take long to eat up. Why don't you have more net worth? I feel like somebody my age should have more. I feel like for all I've done, that's all you got. That's actually kind of sad, right? And
You've had to rebuild. You've had to rebuild a couple times. And
well, market shifts with what I've done. But what I'm getting at is I want to inspire the young people to do it differently.
Sure.
That's what I'm trying to get at.
That's a great point.
Is that if I would have started flipping and I would have listened and invested, think if I would have bought all these rentals, like in Las Vegas in 2009, if I would have taken all that money instead of growing my construction company and just did buy like one a quarter at 30,000, now they're worth 300, I'd be 10x. I literally would have been worth 100 million today.
Plus the cash flow you'd have had all along the ride.
So that's a thing that I was stubborn in my own mind up until 3 years ago to change. I didn't want to change. I was comfortable. I was comfortable just being a contractor, making $700,000-$800,000 a year. I thought it was the end of the world. Like I didn't think big enough. That this whole thing we're trying to tell you is to think bigger. And I'm sitting here today admitting my mistake. And most people wouldn't say that they should be X and admit it, right? But I'm going to be there quicker now. I'll actually be more wealthier than I'm ever going to be because I know the mistake now.
It's hard for someone to admit that. So thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
And thanks for
let me ask you guys. You've flipped 200 and how many homes?
We're at like 245.
What's been do you have any idea what your average profit is on those?
Yeah. We do it year by year, and that's where we're kind of tracking it.
What's your total net profit on 223 homes?
223 homes if we added up all the years.
It's probably close to like 6 million.
5 to 6.
Okay, guys, think about that. These guys have been doing it 6 years. And remember, the first years, I remember you guys were trying to make like 150,000 or 200,000.
Oh, yeah. We started very small. Did A to Z. I said, we were up, we're looking at all the deals. We were managing
walk the job every day.
Walking the jobs, managing the contractors. We were up at 1 a.m. driving across town.
So is it 6 years now? 2016, right?
Maybe
5 years.
About 5 years.
5 years, guys. And now, like, I'm sure this year you guys are going to knock 2, 3, 4 down. Who knows? The unknown. Yeah. And it's a good market. But just remember that these guys are thinking big because I know I think you said it, Jesse, that we're going to try to go like to 150. Like, what is your goal now? Like, what?
Our goal really isn't so much. So it used to be a number. I want to do this many flips. But as we tracked our performance year over year, we're seeing the profit in different flips change. So now it's more numbers and profit driven, not necessarily I want to flip 100 houses.
Okay, so
now how many houses? We're creating opportunity. We're
okay, but remember these guys don't understand that.
Yeah,
they need to start with a number, right?
Sure.
Okay, for a goal.
Yeah.
So then once they have some track record, they can start monitoring it and making adjustments, right? So last year, how many houses did you guys flip?
46.
46? Okay, how many of you flipped this year?
46.
Guys.
It's May.
It's May 11th.
Yeah.
We're just in the fifth.
Our goal for this year was 72. We're on track for 98.
Yep. So guys, what I'm getting at is, you're right, the numbers don't matter because some of these are $1 million properties.
Right.
But that number still... Guys, 46, you guys got to look at the number first and then adjust. Like, I'm going to do 5 this year. You better do 10. You know what I mean? Right. I'm going to do 5. I'm going to do 10. So the new guys, you need to make that number goal because you're not going to know what you're doing on the first ones. You're going to mess up. You're going to win. You're going to lose. You got to go through the motions. It's just part of the deal.
Right. You're going to get taken advantage of, and you're going to have a lot of losses. But
do you guys have the wherewithal to do 150 if they come in your hands?
I think we could get pretty dang close to that.
Yeah. I'll tell you why we have the wherewithal. Do we have the cash today? No. But we have the ability to raise the cash.
Yep.
From a confidence standpoint, like you said, there is so much money out there right now floating around. People waiting for someone that's focused, motivated, confident, and smart to come to them and say, hey, I have these deals. I'm running this business. Would you like to invest in me? You're not investing in the house. You're not investing in the deals. You're investing in the person.
You're doing all the work.
Yeah, it's the people.
So
we need the money to do it.
Where do you go raise money? Because these people have no clue.
We've raised money from referrals.
So there's a great network that you already have that you don't even know you have yet. You need to explore that. You need to explore the network in your local area. And you need to also reach out to other national lenders that may be very willing to work with you. There's a ton of them out there that you may not be aware of that you can find with a simple internet search and automatically be connected to someone and talking to them about money.
Civic, Lending Home.
Lending Home's great. Anchor's big.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Those are all big, and you can all call them up and talk to them today.
Those are all great hard money lenders. But you got to remember, Nick, we use still a private money lender in our business that funds $10 million worth of transactions at any given time, which gives us really the ability to do quite a few jobs. That's $0 out of pocket that we spend to buy those homes.
Yep.
So, if you don't have enough money to put 10% down to a hard money lender, look for a private money lender. Look for a family member. Look for a friend. Look for an acquaintance. Go on local real estate investment Facebook groups and find someone that's willing to invest their money into you to help you get started. That gives you the ability to buy an investment property with $0 out of pocket. All that you have to put out of pocket is your time, energy, and focus.
Yep. It's like Princeville I bought from you guys.
Right.
I'm $0. I have none of that is my money.
Right.
None of it. I got the loan 100% for rehab. I got the loan 100% for purchase.
Mm-hmm.
I got the points on
All covered.
on a second. I got all the interest, all the utility bills, 7 months interest, all set aside in escrow. Didn't have to put any money. Now I used a hard money lender for the purchase and the rehab, and they released $100,000. I have to put up $100,000 out of my construction company to get the draws. And then my controller actually has cash, and she invested in the second site. So I've leveraged a $2.16 million deal with $0 out of pocket. Now, think about that. If I make $700,000, I made $700,000 times my investment.
Right.
Where else
Yes.
can you make it?
700,000%.
So that's where
crazy.
I got a local guy with cash, has $15 million, and then I took, and somebody else wanted to invest in the deal, and there's so much money in it. I'm like, I can go buy more deals. Like, sure, go ahead.
It's unbelievable how creative you can get with the financing side of this business to come out of pocket zero or very little out of pocket to do monster deals.
Yep.
And I think that's hard for people to realize.
But it's the credibility. People are investing. Like my controller investing in me. She works for me for 8 years.
Right.
The hard
Knows
money
you.
lender. I've done $47 million in loans. Like they just know it's going to happen.
yeah,
you know?
and correct me if I'm wrong. You don't have to have 6,000 flips under your belt to get some funding for a deal from a private money lender. All you have to do is show confidence, focus,
Equity.
motivation.
Equity's a good one.
And sweat equity.
Yep. Well, equity in the deal.
Yeah.
Like if you can get
Show why it
equity-
makes sense.
Yeah, if you can make equity in the deal and justify it, anybody will find.
Right.
Bring them to me. I'll find money and finance
Right.
them. Like
Reach out to Nick. He's
Yeah.
helped people find money before too.
yeah, I'll bring the money to the table. I have tons of line of credit, cash, whatever. Like that's how it works. Like I literally have flippers come to me that tap out their line and run out of money, and they have deals. I take 50% of the deal, and
It's better
do it.
than nothing. We give up 50% of our deals to our private money lender.
Yeah.
But hey, when you have that much money out and that many, it gives you the ability to do that much business with no money out of pocket.
You just hit the note that we keep talking about, thinking bigger.
Right.
Like, exactly. Like you're giving up 50%, but you did 46 deals. So last year, did you do any luxury deals?
We did a couple.
Yeah, we did a couple.
How many did you do? 2, 1,
Like
3?
4?
Three or four.
Okay, what were the nets on them? Give me. I don't need addresses. Just give me the nets.
75,000, 125,000.
150.
Okay, so
Yeah.
think about that. So they only did 3. How many do you think you'll do this year?
Hopefully 6.
Okay.
Doubling that.
So if they do 6 and the average is, they're doing pretty good so far, 300.
Yeah.
The average is actually like 375, right? So if they did 6 times 375 this year, they created a $2.8 million opportunity. I think I did the math right. Somewhere in that, whatever it is. That last year they only did a 400,000. So with the extra money and giving up part of their deal, they did 4 last year to test the market to make 400,000, whatever it was. I think my numbers are right. And
close.
Then, and then this year they're going to make 2.8. So giving up a little bit last year, so they'll make 1.4 more this year. That if they wouldn't have gave it up and had a lender do it, they wouldn't have made.
Right, and it's 50-50. So 1.4 million our take for $0 out of pocket, just sweat equity and focus.
See,
to bring the
these
deals.
are the things
Sweat
that
equity.
these people need to hear.
Yeah.
You guys are hitting such a good note on, once again, thinking big. Because if they thought small, you would have your own money and you wouldn't want to share it and you wouldn't want to do more deals and you couldn't make that. But biggest thing is think big. Don't think small at anything you do. Second thing is go to the top immediately. Get the best of the best no matter what. You'll rise quicker. You're going to have to pay to play. It's just how it works. And relationships. Those are the biggest things that I think I even brought back to myself when I'm doing these things. to focus on, because we just get in our daily grind and don't focus. How about you guys?
Yeah, I think those are obviously the big pillars of what we wanted to communicate today. Relationships, taking it even further to nurturing and building a partnership. And then, because we started out, we didn't know how long this would last, where it would go, but look at us today. We're still doing stuff together.
Good
I'm
point.
sure we have years to come where we're still going to be doing stuff together. So taking that even further. And then on the idea of thinking big, you have to really push yourself to do that, because no one else is going to do that. You can listen to us and tell you to think big, but unless you take that to heart and go forth and do it and create it yourself, no one's going to make it happen for you. So one of the little things that I like to do is, and I didn't come up with this, I have to give credit where credit's due. It's from the big man, Ed Milet. I don't know if you guys follow Ed Milet.
Oh, yeah.
But he has one thing that just stuck with me so well, and I kind of want to leave it with you guys here. So one thing that keeps me driving, keeps me moving forward, keeps me growing is the thought of, when all this is over, when life is over, I'm going to go up to heaven, and I'm going, hopefully, and I'm going to meet my person. I'm going to meet me, what I could have been, all the potential that I could have done and could have been and could have grown into. And I do not want to meet that person and be disappointed that I didn't become them. I want to meet that person and know them because I am them.
Yep.
And so that's one thing that I like kind of think about every day to keep yourself pushing, growing, learning, and just moving forward in life.
Man, that was beautiful.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
That was beautiful.
That was actually really good. I was like, dang, that was deep.
We should just end it there.
All right, we can do that.
No, Nick, we appreciate you coming by. You know, for
Yep.
me, longtime family friend.
For sure.
You are definitely a mentor. So one of my biggest points taken away from this is find a mentor, find someone that you could learn from and grow from. You've taught us so much over the years, your experience, your knowledge. You know, it's gotten us to where we are, and I think we're still have so much room to grow. So it's always growing, always learning, and finding a mentor, someone that could really help you get to the next step, because you really need it. You can't do everything on your own. So with that being said, thanks for coming by today.
Yeah,
man.
thanks. And
That was
I want to
fun.
hit back on one quick note on that.
Hit it.
Guys, they've saved me many times too with work, and taught me a lot too. So it goes both ways.
Partnership.
It's not just coming this way that I had experience. The experience that I learned from these guys by things they were doing that I wasn't doing is propelling me forward too.
Awesome.
So,
I love that. I love that. So
Yep.
one thing I want to mention is, if you guys found this podcast and this video valuable, please go subscribe below and follow us on TikTok. You can also follow Nick on The Real Nick Marietta
Yep.
on Instagram.
We'll tag them below.
Yep.
And until then,
We'll see you on the flip side.